you ever noticed that the moments that broke you were the very moments that built you? The days you thought you could not survive were the days you discovered you were unbreakable. And yet, in those moments, you felt as though life had abandoned you, as though the universe had conspired to crush your spirit. But what if I told you those were not endings? They were initiations. They were not punishments. They were promotions in disguise. You see, resilience is not about fighting the storm. It is about becoming the calm within it. True resilience is not measured by how loudly you roar back at life, but by how quietly you rise when everything around you is falling apart. When you are no longer tied to the outcome, when your heart no longer trembles at the rejection, when your soul no longer clings to what slipped away, then you have entered the realm of inner strength. Adversity will come to everyone. It is the one promise life keeps. But the difference between those who crumble and those who rise is simple: detachment. Not coldness, not indifference, but the divine understanding that what leaves you was never yours to keep, and what remains is what was meant to build you. Detachment gives you clarity. It frees you from the chains of emotional slavery. It allows you to look at the broken pieces and say, these are not ruined. These are raw materials for a new foundation. Do not think for a moment that setbacks mean the universe has conspired against you. No, they mean the universe is realigning you. Life is not rejecting you, it is redirecting you, and the pain you feel is not proof of your weakness, but evidence of your initiation into a higher dimension of yourself. So when the storm comes, and it will stand still, detach. Let what must fall, fall. Let what must go, go. For your destiny does not depend on what you lost, but on who you became in the losing. Adversity is never the enemy. It is not the force sent to destroy you, but the silent sculptor sent to shape you. When life confronts you with pain, rejection, betrayal, or failure, your first instinct is to resist it, to label it as unfair, to cry out that you have been abandoned. But the deeper truth is that adversity is often the very tool life uses to awaken what lies dormant within you. Nothing refines a soul like fire, nothing strengthens a vessel like pressure, and nothing awakens a spirit like struggle. The things you call obstacles are often disguised invitations to step into a higher version of yourself. Think about it. Gold is not admired because it lies untouched in the ground. It is admired because it has passed through fire. Diamonds are not valued because they sit comfortably within the earth. They are valued because they were forged under the weight of unrelenting pressure. In the same way, your life is not defined by ease, but by what you endured, and more importantly, by who you became in the process of enduring. Adversity teaches what comfort never can. It teaches patience when time seems cruel. It teaches courage when fear whispers louder than faith. It teaches wisdom when choices are costly. And above all, it teaches resilience, the ability to rise, not because the world applauds you, but because you refuse to remain fallen. Every trial carries a revelation. Every setback hides a seed of growth, and every loss carries a lesson in disguise. If you can shift your perspective and begin to see adversity as your teacher instead of your enemy, then you will stop resisting what comes to shape you and start embracing it as part of your sacred becoming. Resilience is not found in clinging tightly to what hurts you, but in the art of letting go with grace. Detachment is not coldness, nor is it a refusal to feel. It is the wisdom of understanding that your worth is not tied to your circumstances, your identity is not determined by outcomes, and your peace is not dependent on the approval or acceptance of others. To be resilient is to stand firmly rooted within yourself, even as the winds of life attempt to tear away what you thought you could not live without. Most people confuse detachment with indifference, but it is not indifference, it is inner mastery. When you are detached, you do not crumble when a relationship ends, when an opportunity slips through your hands, or when people misjudge you. Instead, you rise with the quiet assurance that if it left, it was not meant to sustain you. Detachment does not diminish your love or passion, it deepens them, because you no longer operate from desperation. You love without fear of loss. You give without the chains of expectation. You pursue your calling without the anxiety of failure. That is true resilience, an unshakable spirit anchored not in circumstances, but in the eternal truth of who you are. When storms come, attachment causes you to panic because your sense of self is entangled with what the storm threatens to take. But detachment allows you to stand calm because you know that what truly belongs to you can never be stolen. This is where confidence is born, not from what you hold on to, but from what you can release without losing yourself. Detachment is strength in its purest form, and when you embody it, no adversity has the power to reduce you. Every setback you encounter carries within it a hidden direction, a quiet whisper guiding you toward alignment with your true path. What often feels like rejection is, in truth, redirection. Life has a way of closing doors not to punish you, but to prevent you from settling in places that were never designed to hold your destiny. The disappointment you feel in those moments is real, but so is the opportunity hidden within it. The pain of a closed chapter is often the seed of a greater beginning, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to look deeper. When you fail, when you stumble, when life denies you something you thought you needed, pause and listen. There is always a message encoded in the setback. Sometimes the path you were walking was too small for who you are becoming. Sometimes the opportunity you lost would have trapped you in mediocrity. Sometimes the relationship that broke was never meant to carry you into the fullness of your calling. What you call loss, life calls protection. What you call failure, life calls realignment. The difference between those who remain broken and those who rise stronger lies in perspective. If you see only the ending, you will miss the hidden beginning. If you see only the pain, you will overlook the wisdom. But if you dare to see beyond the surface, you will discover that every obstacle is a compass pointing you back to yourself, back to your purpose, back to the essence of why you are here. Your setbacks are not meant to bury you. They are meant to steer you. They do not define you. They refine you. And if you are willing to embrace them with faith instead of fear, they will always turn into stepping stones toward destiny. Emotional mastery is the very heart of resilience, for without it, you remain at the mercy of every circumstance that confronts you. Life will always present storms, betrayals, disappointments, and losses. But your true strength is not revealed in the absence of hardship. It is revealed in how you govern your inner world in the face of it. To master your emotions does not mean to deny them. It means to rise above their control. It is the power to feel deeply, yet not be enslaved by what you feel. To acknowledge the weight of pain without allowing it to dictate the direction of your life. When you lack emotional mastery, you become reactive, tossed like a leaf in the wind of external events. Every word spoken against you becomes a wound. Every door that closes becomes a collapse. Every betrayal becomes an identity. But when you cultivate mastery, you no longer respond out of impulse. You respond out of wisdom. You learn to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, to discern before deciding. This is where resilience is born, not in the elimination of emotion, but in the elevation of spirit over emotion. Resilience demands that you refuse to be a prisoner of your feelings. You may feel fear, yet you move forward anyway. You may feel sorrow, yet you hold on to hope. You may feel anger, yet you choose peace. That is mastery. It is the conscious decision to let your higher self lead when your emotions clamor for control. And when you practice this consistently, adversity loses its power to break you. Instead of crumbling, you rise. Instead of reacting, you respond. And in that discipline lies the unshakable confidence that no matter what life takes from you, it can never take the authority you have over yourself. Inner strength is not cultivated in the noise of applause or in the comfort of easy days. It is forged in silence, in the hidden places where no one is watching and no one is applauding. It is in the stillness of waiting, in the quiet of unanswered prayers, and in the solitude of disappointment that the soul is trained to endure. The world teaches you to measure strength by outward display, by how loudly you can shout back, how forcefully you can defend yourself, how quickly you can prove others wrong. But true strength is not in the noise. It is in the restraint, in the ability to hold your peace when every fiber of your being longs to react. When storms come, silence becomes a discipline. It is not the silence of defeat, but the silence of mastery. to remain calm when provoked, to remain steady when surrounded by chaos, to wait patiently when everything in you wants to rush. This is the soil where resilience grows. In silence, you learn to hear your own voice again. You hear the whisper of intuition, the guidance of spirit, the clarity that cannot be found in the clamor of panic. The strongest individuals are not those who shout the loudest about their pain, but those who learn to transform their pain into wisdom in the quiet. They are the ones who understand that silence is not emptiness, but power. It is in holding back when you could lash out that you discover the depth of your self-control. It is in waiting when you want to force outcomes that you develop trust in timing greater than your own. And it is in this hidden practice of silence that you prepare yourself to stand unshaken when life demands your strength. True confidence does not come from what you possess, nor from the validation of others, but from the quiet assurance that even if you lose it all, you will not lose yourself. This is the essence of detachment. When your heart is no longer chained to outcomes, when your worth is no longer tied to achievements, and when your peace is no longer dependent on circumstances, you walk through life with a strength that cannot be shaken. Detachment is not about caring less, it is about standing free. It is the realization that you can engage fully with life, love deeply, work passionately, dream boldly, yet remain unbound by the fear of losing what you hold. Most people live crippled by the terror of loss. They cling so tightly to relationships, opportunities, or possessions that they lose their balance when those things shift. But when you embody detachment, you no longer cling, you flow. You no longer beg for doors to remain open. You trust that the right ones will never close. And in that trust, confidence is born. You move into every space with boldness, not because you control the outcome, but because the outcome no longer controls you. Confidence rooted in detachment is unshakable. It allows you to stand before rejection and not collapse, to face uncertainty without trembling, to walk away from what diminishes you without fear of emptiness. This kind of confidence is not arrogance, it is spiritual authority. It is the deep knowing that your value is eternal, unaltered by external shifts. When you live detached, you stand taller, speak clearer, and move freer because your confidence is anchored not in what you have, but in who you are. And who you are is something no adversity can ever take away. Resilience is so often misunderstood as merely bouncing back, as if the goal of overcoming adversity is to return to who you were before the storm. But the truth is, you are never meant to go back. You are meant to go forward, to evolve into someone wiser, stronger, and more aligned with your destiny. When life shakes you, it is not to restore you to your former state, but to strip away what can no longer serve you and awaken the deeper dimensions of who you are becoming. Every trial you endure plants something within you, an insight, a strength, a discipline, a wisdom that was not there before. You cannot pass through fire and remain the same. You cannot walk through loss, betrayal, or failure without being transformed in some way. And the beauty of resilience is not that you pretend nothing happened, but that you allow what happened to carve a new depth in you. The scars become maps, the pain becomes prophecy, and the brokenness becomes the soil from which your greatness grows. When you embrace resilience as evolution, setbacks no longer intimidate you. You no longer ask, how quickly can I get back to where I was? But rather, who am I becoming through this? That shift in perspective is everything. Because the truth is, resilience is not about restoration. It is about transformation. It is emerging from the storm with a vision sharper than before, with courage deeper than before, with faith stronger than before. The person you were before adversity is not as equipped for destiny as the person you are after it. And so every challenge is not a step backward, but a step forward, an initiation into a greater version of yourself that could never have been revealed without the storm. Life will not always hand you comfort, but it will always hand you choice. You cannot decide the storms that come your way, but you can decide who you will become in the midst of them. Every trial is an invitation, either to surrender to despair or to rise into destiny. And when you choose to rise, when you choose to detach from fear, when you choose to master your emotions and embrace the lessons of adversity, you step into a power that cannot be shaken. Remember this, resilience is not about proving to the world that you are strong. It is about proving to yourself that you are unbreakable. Setbacks will try to define you, But you were never called to be defined by what you lost. You were called to be refined by it. Let adversity shape you, but never shrink you. Let pain instruct you, but never imprison you. Let every fall become the ground on which you build something greater. And when the world looks at you, may they not see someone untouched by hardship, but someone transformed by it. Someone who has turned wounds into wisdom, battles into breakthroughs, and setbacks into stepping stones.